very good morning to everyone. I am Miss Kesana Vanaja Lakshmi Durga Bhavani, lecturer, Department of Obstetrics and Gynecological Nursing, Faculty of Nursing, Rama University. Today I am here to present topic on fetal skull. So now let's move on to the topic. So today's topic is fetal skull. Here introduction about the topic. Fetal skull, it is larger in relationship with the body when compared with the adults. You just observe the fetal head, it is larger. You just observe in adults, the adult head is smaller than the body. Coming to the fetal head is larger than the fetal body. So then next, what is the main role of the fetal bones? The skull bones. The skull bones, it encases and it protects the brain. Then after that, and during the molding and during the adaptation process, the fetal skull, it is made up of compressible bones and it is made up of thin pliable tubular bones. During adaptation without any complications, the fetal head, it passes through the birth canal very easily without any complications. Then after that, the parts of the fetal skull, it has mainly three parts. One is vault, face and base. These three are the vault, face and base. See here, this is the vault, face and this is the base. The fetal skull has mainly three bones. One is vault, face and base. So next, the main landmarks of the fetal skull. So the main landmarks of the fetal skull and main parts of the fetal skull, it is the first one is vertex and second one is the brow, third one is the face and fourth one is sinciput and last one is occiput. The brow and sinciput, occiput and the face and vertex. So coming to the vertex, what is it? It is a quadrangular area and it is bounded by the anteriorly by coronal sutures and posteriorly by the lambda and lambdoidal sutures. So the vertex, it is a quadrangular area and it is bounded by anteriorly by the coronal sutures and posteriorly by the lambdoidal sutures and side by and line passes through the parietal eminences. The next one, brow. Coming to the brow, it is bounded by the one side of the anterior fontanelle and coronal sutures and another side by the roof of the neck to the supraorbital ridges. The brow, it is bounded by the one side of the anterior fontanella or bregma and coronal sutures to the another side by the root of the nose and supraorbital ridges. The next one is face. The face, it is bounded by the root of the nose and supraorbital ridges on either side and by the junction of the floor to the mouth. It is bounded by the root of the nose and supraorbital ridges on either side by the junction of the floor of the mouth. Then coming to the sinciput. Sinciput, it is the area lying in front of the anterior fontanelle and corresponds to the area of the brow. It is the area, it is lying in front of the anterior fontanelle. So this anterior in front of the anterior fontanelle, it will comes under brow. The next one is, last one is occiput. It is the area, it is limited to the only to the occipital bone. Okay. So till now we have discussed about introduction part. Here the fetal head is large in relationship with the body and compared with the adults, and the fetal skull vault, it has mainly three parts. One is vault, face and base, and the main landmarks of the fetal skull, it is vertex, brow, face, sinciput, then occiput. Next one is bones. Here the vault is made up of mainly 7 bones. The vault consists of total 7 bones. 2 are temporal bones, 2 temporal bones, 2 frontal bones, 2 parietal bones and 1 is occipital bone. Total 7. The vault is having total 7 bones. It is made up of total 7 bones. 2 are temporal bones, 2 frontal bones, 2 parietal bones and 1 occipital bone. Then coming to the sutures. What is mean by sutures? the flat bones of the vault are united together. The flat bones of the vault are united together and forms a non-ossified membranes are attached to the ends of the sutures. We will call it as ends of the sutures. We will call it as sutures. End of the bones, we will call it as the sutures. So total 4 sutures are we can observe on the fetal skull. First one is frontal suture, second one is sagittal suture, and third one is coronal suture, and fourth one is lambdoidal suture. Now I will explain one by one. Here first one is frontal suture. The frontal suture, it lies between the 2 frontal bones. The frontal suture which lies between the 2 frontal bones, it is called frontal suture. And coming to the sagittal suture. The sagittal suture, it separates or it lies between the 2 parietal bones. It is called sagittal suture. And another one is coronal suture. The coronal suture, it lies between the frontal suture and parietal suture. It separates the frontal suture and parietal sutures on either side. Then last one is lambdoidal suture. The lambdoidal suture, it separates the 1 occipital bone and 2 parietal bones. It lies between the 1 occipital bone and the 2 parietal bones. It separates 1 occipital bone and 2 parietal bones. These are all the sutures of the fetal skull. Total 4 sutures are there. One is frontal suture, another one is sagittal suture, another one is coronal suture, and last one is lambdoidal suture. Then coming to the fontanelles. What is mean by fontanelle? A wide gap between the suture lines, you will call it as a fontanelle. So total 2 fontanelles we can observe on the fetal skull. First one is anterior fontanelle and second one is posterior fontanelle. Coming to the anterior fontanelle. Here the anterior fontanelle, it is a diamond shaped structure, and how it will form? It is formed by joining of the 4 suture lines in the midplane of the vault. Here how it will form? It will formed by the joining of the 4 suture lines. That 4 suture lines anteriorly by the frontal suture and posteriorly sagittal suture, on lateral sides 2 coronal sutures. And the shape of the anterior fontanelle, it is a diamond shaped structure. It is membranous and it is ossified at the age of 18 months after the birth. And it is ossified at the age of 18 months after the birth. Then next one is the importance of anterior fontanelle. The importance. What is the importance of anterior fontanelle? See, during examination, during palpation, through the internal examination, it denotes the degree of, during the delivery, we can observe the degree of the flexion of the head. We can observe the flexion of the head, and it facilitates the molding also. It facilitates the molding of the head, and as it remains, how months it is ossified? It is ossified at the age of 18 months after the birth. So it won't closes as earlier. So it will take too much of time to close. So as it remains membranous long after the birth, it helps in accommodating the marked brain growth. The brain becomes almost double its size within 1 year of the age. Then by palpation of the floor reflex, if you are palpating the anterior fontanelle, it reflects the palpation of the floor reflex. It reflects intracranial status. So by palpation of the anterior fontanelle, you can observe the intracranial pressure. You can observe the intracranial pressure. If we are palpating the anterior fontanelle, whether it is somewhat, it is depressed. If the fetal head, the fontanelle, it is depressed, in the sense it denotes the baby is in the dehydration status. If it is depressed, what it will call? The baby is in dehydration status. Or it is elevated, it denotes there is a raised, there is a increased intracranial pressure. If the dehydration is there, means what we have to do? We have to educate the mother regarding what? Frequent breastfeeds. If the baby is having elevated intracranial pressures and all, so we have to go for the other lab investigations like CSF analysis. and we have to find out the which disease is going on the newborn. Then next one is posterior fontanelle. Here the posterior fontanelle, it is a triangular in shape. It is formed by joining of the three suture lines. It is formed by the joining of the three suture lines. Anteriorly sagittal suture. It is formed by the joining of the three sutures. Anteriorly sagittal suture and lateral sides by the two lambdoidal sutures. Okay na? It is formed by mainly three suture lines, anteriorly sagittal suture and laterally by the lambdoidal sutures. Okay. Then next, when it will ossifies? It will ossifies within 3 months of after the birth. After the birth, within 3 months, it will closes. So next move on to the diameters. The diameters of the fetal skull. Here you can observe total 2 diameters are there. Anterior, posterior and longitudinal diameter one type and transverse diameter. We can observe the transverse diameter, biparietal diameter and bitemporal diameter. Here biparietal diameter, it is the distance between it lies in between the two parietal eminences. The distance between the two parietal eminences, it is called biparietal diameter. It measures about 9.5 centimeter, but the biparietal diameter, it measures about 9.5 centimeter. The next one is the bitemporal diameter, and it is the smallest diameter of the fetal skull. The bitemporal diameter is the smallest diameter of the fetal skull, and it measures about 88 centimeters. It measures about 8 centimeters, and it measures anterior inferior ends of the coronal sutures. It is the distance between the anterior inferior ends of the coronal suture. This is the bitemporal diameter. It measures about 8 centimeter, and this is the smallest diameter of the fetal skull. Then coming to the anteroposterior longitudinal diameters. In this anteroposterior longitudinal diameters, here total 6 are there. First one is, now I am discussing one by one. First one is suboccipito-bregmatic. Here suboccipito-bregmatic. Sub, it is a below the occipital protuberance to the center of the bregma. It is the distance between, it lies between the below the occipital protuberance to the center of the bregma. It measures about 9.5 centimeters. Then next one is the suboccipito-frontal. It is the below the occipital protuberance to the frontal. Below the suboccipito-frontal. Here subocciput. Below the occipital protuberance to the center of the frontal bone, center of the frontal suture. It is called as occipito-frontal, suboccipito-frontal. Next one is the occipito-frontal. Here the distance between the occiput to the glabella, center of the glabella, it is called occipito-frontal. The distance between the occipital bone to the glabella, it measures about 11.5 centimeters. And next one is mento-vertical. It is the largest diameter of the fetal skull. It measures about 13.5 centimeter. The mento-vertical, it is the largest diameter of the fetal skull, and it measures about 13.5 centimeters. The distance between mento-vertical, the highest point of the vertex, chin, it extends from the mentum, it is nothing but the chin. The chin to the highest point of the vertex, nearer to the posterior fontanelle than to the anterior fontanelle. This is the highest part of the vertex. Chin to the distance between the chin to the highest point of the vertex, nearer to the posterior fontanelle than to the anterior fontanelle. It measures about 13.5 centimeters. This is the longest diameter of the fetal skull. Then after that, submento-vertical. Submento. Here This is the root of the submento, where chin joins to the neck. Where chin joins to the neck. Here, submento. Submento, it is nothing but where chin joins to the neck to the highest point of the vertex. Where chin joins to the neck to the highest point of the vertex. It is called submento vertical diameter. It measures about 11.5 centimeters. Then last one is submento bregmatic. It is the distance between where the chin joins to the neck to the bregma, to the center of the anterior fontanelle. It is called submento bregmatic diameter. So understood? So anterior fontanelle and anterior diameters and posterior diameters. Anteroposterior longitudinal diameter total 6 are there. First one is suboccipitobregmatic 9.5 centimeters and it lies the distance between the anterior, the suboccipitobregmatic, the distance between the below the occipital protuberance to the center of the bregma, we will call it as suboccipitobregmatic diameter. It measures about 9.5 centimeter. Next one is suboccipitofrontal. It is the below the occipital protuberance to the center of the frontal suture. It measures about 10 centimeter. Then occipitofrontal. It is the occipital bone to the glabella, center of the glabella. It measures about the 11.5 centimeter. Then mentovertical. It is the highest and largest diameter of the fetal skull. It measures about 13.5 centimeters. It is the distance between the chin to the highest point of the vertex nearer to the posterior fontanella than to the anterior fontanella. It measures about 13.5 centimeters. Then next one is submentovertical. It measures about 11.5 centimeters. The distance between where the chin joins to the neck to the vertex, highest point of the vertex. Then next one is submentobregmatic. It measures about 9.5 centimeters from where chin joins to the neck to the center of the bregma. It is the submentobregmatic diameter. Then coming to the transverse diameter, bitemporal diameter and biparietal diameter. Bitemporal diameter. It is the smallest diameter of the fetal skull. It measures about 8 centimeters. This is the smallest diameter and it is the distance between the anterior inferior ends of the coronal sutures. It is 8 centimeters. Then biparietal diameter. It is the distance between the two parietal eminences. It measures about 9.5 centimeters. So okay, till now we have discussed about the introduction about the fetal skull and definition of the fetal skull and bones of the fetal skull, landmarks of the fetal skull and sutures of the fetal skull and diameters of the fetal skull and fontanelles of the fetal skull.